Great. Okay, so settling in, either sitting or lying down, always your choice. Oops, let me get rid of this. Great. Settling into stillness. Choosing stillness. Great. Good morning, everyone. We're settling into sitting or lying down as we come to our practice. It is a practice that we always seem to be, or I try to work to the perfect pose or the perfect whatever, breath, even if it's just in the moment. Give myself a little pat on the back for doing it correctly. We are practicing, and hopefully with each practice, we learn something else that becomes a habit that we can bring into our physical practice in our everyday life. So what are you working on? Something brought you here this morning. What is your hope for your mind, your body, your spirit? And we place that in an I am statement and repeat it softly to yourself a few times as if it were true and already happening. And we let that intention go without attaching to it, open to whatever comes up throughout the practice. And we know that our practice goes through different stages depending on where we are in our lives. So 15 years ago, I just wanted to be strong because I came from a gym and weight training. I really needed to feel strong in my body because it was easy. And I could relate to that. It was harder for me to be flexible. So I really tried to avoid those practices. And we notice the habits of mind, body, what we attach to, what feels good, and what we try to avoid or let go of. As we become aware of the physical practice, or how we are in the physical practice, we become aware of how we are in our lives. And that's how we carry yoga from our mats into our lives. We develop or we practice awareness so that we can be in the moment without attachment, without coercion or aversion, to just be. And that comes in, is really helpful right now in these trying times. To try to rest in the moment, aware of gravity and how your body responds to gravity in this moment, whether you're sitting or lying down. And softening into that, but at the same time, bringing an alert awareness so that if you're seated, you're connected through the sitting bones and lengthening up through the crown of the head. And if you're lying down, still the shoulder blades can be actively drawing to the center of the back as you are aware of an opening across the heart space. Maybe your knees are bent and you're aware of the feet rooted to the earth and the knees lifting to the sky. Maybe you're aware that the legs would like to fall open and you have to have an alert awareness to keep the knees facing up to the ceiling. And then being a little mindful about over-efforting. As we allow the focus to come to the breath, is there a connection or a response in the body? So actively drawing the focus to the breath, your natural rhythm, and noticing without attachment or aversion to the response of your body. Allowing the breath to soften and the body to open. The physical body connected to the earth, allowing for a long spine, whether you're sitting or lying down. And the energy body helping to be in this pose, to rest in the stillness of the pose, whatever it is. Throughout the practice, we're aware of the physical, skeletal, muscular body as it responds to gravity, but we bring awareness to the energy body, to the breath, that allows us to rest in the stillness. As we bring this alert awareness into the practice, sometimes it seems a little too hard or inaccessible. So by focusing on my voice, we bring ourselves back. We've all had the experience of practicing and all of a sudden losing the voice of the teacher and having to look at the screen or up in a live class at her or him modeling because we have no idea where we are. We got lost and carried away in our thoughts. And we miss the moment, but that's okay. We catch up again and we practice again, connecting with the voice, the sounds, and coming back into the body, using the breath. So noticing the sounds around you, what comes to you, being aware of them without expectation, without aversion or attaching, because some sounds are delightful and some cause a reaction in your body, a negative reaction in your body, in your mind. Some sounds create an emotional response, and we become aware of all of this. But if we attach to those responses, then we miss the next sound. So for 3 more rounds of breath, just resting in the stillness, aware of the sounds. Throughout the practice, bringing awareness without attaching so you don't miss the next moment. With your inhale, allowing the arms to extend up overhead, finding length, allowing the breath to move freely. And with your exhale, allowing the arms to float back down to the earth, slowly allowing the breath to guide you. With your inhale, allow the arms to float out around and up, or from the hips up around alongside the ears. And with your exhale, float them down. Out in front of you or out to the side, doesn't matter. Allow the breath to guide you. And then resting in stillness with the exhale, the hands by the hips. Inhale there and If you're sitting, allow yourself to come to your back. Finding yourself resting with a long spine on the earth, softening the back of the neck. So there's a gentle tuck of the chin towards the notch in the collarbone, and then you rest there. Bending one knee and then the other to let the feet float to the earth. And then become aware of gravity acting on the body and that connection where your body connects to the earth beneath you. Let that go and become aware of the body, physical body, as the breath moves in and out. As you rest in the stillness, just notice how you're being in the pose. Do you have an expectation, a judgment? Are you attaching to some physical sensation? Can you let it go and just become aware of the breath? With your exhale, allow the belly to draw towards the earth, hugging it in and up, and allow the back body to open any amount. Inhale, allow the hip points to roll towards the knees as the front body expands, opens, the heart space puffs up. Exhaling, tucking, opening up, inhaling, tipping the pelvis forward to extend through the front body, your breath, pelvic tilts. Just rocking on the sacrum, forward and back. I say just, we don't always have this connection. So use the breath to guide you. Let go of any efforting. Smooth out the edges. And become aware of the sounds around you. Become aware of the sound of your breath as it echoes in the body, in the space surrounding you. With your next exhale, allow for a neutral spine. Inhale there, big, wide opening. Exhale, right knee draws in for a hug. And then move it around a little. Maybe the fingers clasp or interlace in back of the thigh. Moving the leg in the hip socket, just noticing. And then settling into the pose. Resting in the stillness, using the exhale to come into the deepest expression right now. No effort. Awareness of the body. Awareness of the breath. Letting go of the thoughts. Open to the sounds surrounding you. Exhaling there and inhaling, release the bind, extend into that heel. And then settle into the stillness of the pose, using the breath to guide you. Making some circles through the ankle. And then reversing them. Finding stillness there. With your exhale, gently hugging the belly in and up so the thigh can draw in, knee to chest. With your inhale, extending into the heel to reach towards the ceiling. Moving in and out of the pose, letting your breath guide you, rooted to the earth through the sole of the left foot, the sacrum as the belly draws you to the earth, and the shoulder blades resting in the center of the heart. Softening where you find any gripping, so that you flow in and out of the pose, exhaling knee to chest, inhaling, extending it to the ceiling for 2 more rounds. And with your inhale, extending, and then crossing the ankle over the thigh. Letting the right ankle rest just below the knee. The right knee floats away from you. Keeping the sacrum rooted to the earth so there's equal weight in both sides of the hip. And allow yourself to settle into the stillness of this pose. And maybe rocking both knees over to the left as if you could stand that right foot flat on the earth with the knee still facing up away from you. Inhaling, coming back to center so slowly that you land right in the center of the sacrum. So you keep that awareness linked to the body moving, the breath guiding, so that you don't rock too far over to the right. Aware of not allowing the left hip to lift, of resting in the center of the sacrum on that inhale. 1 more round like this. Awareness to the hips, and then neutral. And resting there. Inhaling, that right leg extends straight up to the ceiling. 1 more time. Keep that leg reaching, the heel reaching out of the hip socket. As you exhale, there's awareness to the belly, and that leg slowly lowers to the earth with a softness in the back of the knee. Coming to rest. With your exhale, next exhale, the knee bends and that right foot roots to the earth. Inhaling and exhaling, the left knee draws into the chest. Maybe interlacing the fingers, maybe not. The shoulders remain resting on the earth, part of the foundation. Maybe noticing the sides a little different, letting go as you move into the pose or move the leg in the hip socket to settle into the pose. Your fullest expression, allowing a gentle gathering of the belly in and up and the thigh to rest on the belly. Where you feel an opening. What does this pose, guided by the breath, allow you? Exhale, releasing the bind, and inhaling, extending into that heel. Letting the arms rest by your sides if that feels comfortable for you. There's a softness to the back of the knee, but an awareness of the heel extending to the ceiling. Letting go of efforting, but staying connected to the earth and rotating through the ankle in one direction. And then the other, guided by the breath. So it's a slow, mindful circle. And then finding stillness there. Exhaling, gathering the belly. Inhaling, reaching that leg out of the hip socket. Aware of the breath as you exhale and cross that ankle over the thigh. And settling into the stillness of this pose. Oh yeah, right. So I can't see who is reminding me that we inhaled, reached into the heel, and exhaled, draw the thigh to the belly. Sorry, moving it around before we come into that 4 square. So extending that leg straight up to the ceiling and exhaling, drawing the knee to the chest, thigh to belly. 3 more rounds like this, if that feels good for you. Remember, you're the guide of your practice, your body. So coming to stillness before I suggest it. The next time you inhale, reaching into that heel, resting in the stillness, and then crossing the ankle over the thigh. Noticing the sensation without attaching to it, and then adjusting so the pose suits your body, so the breath moves freely. With your exhale, keeping that left foot flexed, maybe both knees float over to the right, coming into a gentle twist, lengthening through the left side body. Inhaling up to center, coming to stillness right in the middle of the sacrum. Exhaling over, inhaling up, your body guiding, your breath rather, guiding your body. Moving slowly so you don't go past that middle on the inhale. And with your next inhale, finding stillness there. Exhale, gently gathering the belly and inhaling, extending into that left leg. With your next exhale, again, connecting with the belly button to the earth, slowly lowering that leg comes to rest onto the floor, and the right leg comes to meet it. Bring awareness to the breath. Stepping one foot and then the other onto the floor and rolling over onto one side or the other, using your arm as a pillow. Aware of the breath as it echoes in the body. And then become aware of the sounds as they're brought to you. Is it possible to be aware of the breath and the sounds? What happens if you bring awareness to the breath as it fills the front and back of the heart space? With your exhale, using the hands on the earth to press the earth away, and inhale yourself all the way up and then over onto all fours, taking the time to pad the knees. First, we set up the physical body, the muscular skeletal body, to make the pose accessible to us right now. To become aware of the foundation that we need, of how gravity acts on the body and what we need to do in the muscular body to support the pose. And once we come to stillness in the physical pose, we can become aware of the breath that is the energy body, And if you become aware of the subtle movement of the breath and watch it as it flows in and out, let go of some of the efforting in the body. So that as you inhale, you can move into that extension of cow, slowly from the tip of the tailbone up through the crown of the head, perhaps. And with your exhale, you can tuck the tail and move into your cat pose. Moving in and out of cat and cow, guided by the breath. Keeping awareness in the foundation, but letting go of the efforting and finding the ease that using the breath gives you. What are you aware of if you focus on the breath guiding the body? And when you lose that awareness of the breath, what happens? 2 more rounds like this. And after the second round and that inhale into a back bend, find a neutral spine and exhale. Allow the hips to settle in the direction of the heels, maybe walking the knees a little wider. And then settling into your expression of child pose. Moving slowly, one breath leading to the next to allow the body to rest on the earth. And then letting go of the physical body, become aware of the breath. And does this awareness on the breath allow you to move a little deeper into the pose? And deeper can mean many things depending on the pose and the moment. And what is available to your body today. If we enter into the moment without expectation, what are we able to do? With your next exhale, gather the belly. With your inhale, come up onto all fours. And take some hip circles here. So you're allowing the hips to float in the direction of the heels for an extension, maybe even into the arms. And then you're coming to the side. Maybe the hip creases can come forward of the hips. What do you need? How do your arms have to relate to the earth to keep the pose safe and accessible? You let go of the efforting and then reverse the circles. And when I give a cue, do you immediately switch gears, or do you allow your breath to guide you, becoming aware of where you are in space and then allowing the breath to move you? So that I just offer suggestions, but you decide how to relate to them. And then coming to stillness in this tabletop, a pose we've done hundreds of times before. Bringing alert awareness to the pose, letting go of all efforting. One straight line from the tip of the tailbone to the crown of the head. Yes. And with your inhale, the left leg extends in back of you, curling under the toes so that you can reach into the heel. Bringing awareness to the breath. With your inhale, that leg lifts. Body reacting to gravity. What do you need to do to make the pose accessible? And maybe you're coming a little deeper by extending into that right arms. Softening into the pose. Bringing the body into active awareness. Keeping the integrity of the pose. Maybe with your next inhale, you find you can move a little deeper, whatever deeper means for you, breath, body, letting go of thoughts, resting in the pose, exhale, lowering down. Then let that side go, find the foundation again, recommit to it. Maybe, like me, you have a list of things you need to check off to feel safe and supported. And with your inhale, that right leg extends, curling the toes under, finding the breath, active awareness. With your inhale, allowing that leg to reach straight out of the hip and up towards the ceiling. Smoothing out the edges to inhale, maybe that left arm alongside your ear. Letting go of any rigidity, smoothing out the edges with the breath, letting go of an idea of how the pose should look. Just resting in what feels good for you. For one more inhale, maybe shining open, and exhale, softening down. Walking the hands, one handprint forward, curling the toes under. Inhale there and exhale, allow the hips to reach towards the heels as you slide the top of the mat away from you. What do you notice? What do you feel? Not judging or expecting. Not avoiding. Just resting. With your exhale, the pit of the belly gathers. And you lift the knees off the floor as you still extend into the hands, and then slowly those knees start to straighten. Nice. And then you move it around. And maybe you find that the breath is ragged and uneven, that your shoulders cannot support you today. And you bring your knees down and meet your body where it is. And then find the breath again. And then maybe settling into the stillness of downward facing dog. A variation that works for you to get the same result of lengthening through the back body, reaching the hip creases back, up and back, of extending through the arms as they rest in the shoulder sockets. What happens as I go through these cues? Do you lose the breath? Does the mind start to wander? Just noticing the habits of the mind body. Letting everything go. And finding the breath. And then exhaling, either walking your hands and feet together slowly and mindfully, or if you're on your knees, you're stepping one foot forward, curling the toes under and extending that other to step it, slide it, to meet. And now you're in half forward fold. And the palms slide to the top of the thighs. And you find your connection to the earth and commit to it. And then become aware of the body resting in this stillness of half forward fold, hinging at the hips, long front and back body. Supported. Letting go of the efforting by connecting to the energy body, the breath. Can you find a little ease in the pose? With your exhale, root into the feet, and with your inhale, float slowly all the way up with a straight back. Maybe the arms extend, and you reach through the right arm, opening up through the right side body as you press into the right heel, and reach into the left arm as you reach into the left heel. Moving from side to side, lengthening through the side body. And then inhaling into stillness, both arms extended. And exhale, float them down. And roll through the shoulders, big circles. Guided by your breath, not just my cues. And then coming forward a few times. Stepping to the top of the mat and resting in the stillness of your mountain pose. Finding the foundation that supports you. Maybe the fingertips extend towards the earth. Maybe they come together at the heart center. Finding your expression of mountain pose. Aware of the skeletal muscular body that supports you from releasing to the earth, pulled by gravity. So we root down and we lengthen through the crown of the head as if we had a bowl of water. We wanted to bring that bowl of water to stillness. Aware of the breath. Aware of the breath as it moves in and out. Keeping that extension through the crown of the head. With your inhale, the arms float out, around, and up. And with your exhale, we swan dive forward. The head stays right where it is, in alignment with the spine. Inhaling there, exhaling, maybe you have space to hinge a little closer to the earth. Inhaling, maybe lifting up a few inches or so. Exhaling, floating forward. So that you keep that length, that active awareness to the crown of your head, and allow the back body to start to open. And then rest in the stillness in that half forward fold, maybe a little deeper. With your next exhale, bend the knees, reach the hip creases back. So now the toes become light on the floor. And with your inhale, hips stay where they are, knees bent, the heart floats up away from the thighs. Coming into your expression of chair. Maybe as you gaze to the floor out in front of you, you can inhale the arms up into cactus. Bringing awareness to the muscular skeletal body that is supporting you from releasing into gravity to keep you long and lifted. The breath that sustains the pose. Rooting into the soles of the feet, inhaling, straightening through the knees with awareness, not locking them, extending the fingertips up, and exhale, float the hands, palms together to the heart center. Let the thumbs rest there. Bring awareness to the sensation in the body. Awareness to the breath. What do you notice? Are you judging it or expecting something? You let go of all of it. Just rest in the moment and the sounds that come to you. Noticing that as we move in and out of our practice, we focus on the sounds of the cueing, but everything else becomes lost. As you rest in the stillness of the pose, you become aware of everything around you. Stepping to the long side of the mat and walking the feet nice and wide, with the edges of the feet parallel to the ends of the mat. Maybe the hands float to the hips and the shoulder blades settle. And we root down and lengthen up. Notice what happens in the body with just that cue of rooting down and lengthening up. And then find the breath again. Inhaling there and exhaling, hinging forward. Wide-legged forward fold. With your inhale, float all the way up to stand. Tailbone tilts back down towards the earth. Crown of the head rises. Exhaling as if you had a broomstick down your back. You're keeping that extension with all the natural curves, and notice maybe the lower back loses its curve the more it hinges forward, and you allow that. Next time you inhale up, find stillness there. Allow the palms of the hands to float towards the lower back. And heel toe step the feet a little closer together, maybe just a little wider than hips distance. And then find your foundation again. Become aware of the soles of the feet as they rest on the earth, of the legs that support you, of the breath. And with your inhale, lift the heart to where the wall meets the ceiling. Keep the hips right where they are. Maybe the heart can lift towards the ceiling, opening up into a back bend. Soften the back of the neck. Inhaling, lifting the ribs away from the lower back. Exhaling, finding the pose. Allowing the breath to come underneath that space below the collarbone, with the shoulder blades underneath the heart, with the shoulders softened away from the ears, and with your next inhale, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, hinge forward, soften the knees, let the hands slide back to the tops of the thighs. Notice the feet connected to the earth. Become aware of the shoulder blades, of the arms in the shoulders. With your exhale, hug the belly in and up. Allow the tailbone to tip towards the earth. With your inhale, find a neutral spine, straight. Exhale, allow the tailbone to tuck as you gather the belly in and up. Inhale, long spine. One more round like this, opening up as the pelvis rolls over the femur bones and then comes back to neutral. Inhaling all the way up to stand. Walking back to that wide-legged and pivoting the right foot to the top of the mat. Finding the connection to the earth, the foundation that allows you to become lighter and lift and lengthen towards the ceiling. With your exhale, we're bending into the right knee and settling the hips straight down. What are the habits of your body? Where do you go in your Warrior Two foundation? What awareness do you need to bring to the muscular skeletal body to allow the pose to be accessible to you? And then we find the breath again, and we inhale and maybe extend through the fingertips and soften into the pose. And with your inhale, reach through the right fingertips to lengthen through the side body. Allow the right hand to float to the tops of the thigh. But the core is supporting and you have stayed right where you landed in that extension. Let the left hand come to the hip or maybe the rib cage. Find the breath. Soften the back of the neck. With your exhale, can you guide the left ribs closer to the floor and lengthen through the right side body? So we have a strong, long thoracic body. The left ribs descend towards the thigh, yes, and the right side body gets longer. Exhale, gather the belly. Inhale all the way up to stand. Find your expression of Warrior Two. Smooth out the edges, bringing alert awareness to the pose so we're not sinking into the hips. We're efforting in the shoulders or the jaw. What do you become aware of? What can you let go of? How can you move deeper into the pose? What does that mean for you? Can you exhale and draw that right hip bone away from the thigh? What do you become aware of? Just noticing. With your exhale, float the arms down, straighten into that right leg, heel toe, step the feet together. Coming into Tadasana for a few rounds of breath. Resting in the stillness of Tadasana with alert awareness. Noticing the soles of the feet as they rest on the earth. Do you feel more weight in the toes or the heels? And can you adjust that by drawing the tops of the thighs, allowing them to float forward or draw them to the room in back of you? And see if that feels a little different. Or if you had it right from the start. And then inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Nice. Just noticing. Walking the feet nice and wide again. And rotating the left foot towards the back of the mat. And then settle into the foundation, aware of the feet rooting, of the legs supporting you, and the breath guiding you so that you can lift the crown as if you were balancing a bowl of water on the crown of the head. And with your exhale, settling the hips straight down, still balancing that water, letting go of the efforting. Once you come into your expression, what are you aware of as you root to the earth and lengthen straight up? Inhaling, the arms extend. Active awareness, letting go of the efforting. Where do you hold your attention? Using the exhales to settle a little deeper. Inhaling, lengthening through the left side body. Pause there. Just the arm floats down. Body stays right where it is. The right hand comes to the hip. Side angle. The heart faces forward and a little up to the ceiling. Legs root down. Maybe this is where you're staying. Maybe the right hand comes to the ribs. Maybe you notice that you can soften the ribs towards the left thigh, allowing for an opening and a lengthening in the left side body. So there has to be a balance of support and softening to come into this place. And what happens if you can't find it? What is the self-talk? Can you let that go? Find the breath. Exhale, root into the earth, and inhale, draw yourself up. Finding your expression of warrior two. Floating the arms down, straightening into that left leg. The foot pivots forward, and we heel toe and mindfully step the feet under the hips. And take 2 rounds of breath here in your mountain pose. Landing in the soles of the feet and lengthening through the crown of the head, and then checking in with that alignment. Front, back of the feet, rooting into the circumference of the heels. Is there a deep crease where the back of the thighs comes into the glutes? Are your thighs coming forward, or are your hips over your knees? Just noticing, because everyone stands differently, so I'm not saying everyone needs to draw the tops of the thighs back. What happens when you do? Do you feel off balance, like you're falling backwards? Then probably you had that connection. Beautiful. Find the breath. Alert awareness without judgment or expectation. What do you become aware of as you focus on the breath in the heart space? What happens in that pause after the exhale? When you bring the focus to the breath, do you lose the connection to the foundation of the pose? Allowing the weight to shift over the left leg, maybe the hands are on the hips, so that you can step the right foot, right heel to the right toe, left toe, sorry. So right foot comes in front of the left. And maybe you feel that's not accessible to you today. So you step the right foot to the side, outside of the left, for a wider foundation. Find a gazing point ahead of you. Root into the soles of the feet. Hug the inner thighs together, and maybe you can find that internal rotation. So thighs hug together and then rotate to the room and back of you, even as you root down. Without locking the knees. So aware and letting go of the efforting. Knowing that the body's always checking in its relationship in space, so there's a little movement, right? It's not static and rigid, constantly adjusting and being okay with that. Allowing the breath to move freely. Maybe you can let the fingertips extend towards the earth. Maybe you're able to inhale them up overhead slowly, pausing, settling. Maybe you're able to inhale a little further, softening there. Still connected to the foundation, equal weight in both feet. Exhale, float the arms down. Step that right foot to meet the left hand. Pause here. Big inhale, exhale, sigh the breath out, let it go. Allowing the weight to shift over the right leg, maybe the hands are on the hips, and you're bringing alert awareness to the foundation that's rooted in the sole of that right foot, and stepping that left foot in front of the right, to the big toe, to the side of the big toe, maybe an inch or two away out to the left. Just noticing this side might be different. And then as you commit to the foundation, more weight comes into that front leg. So now there's equal weight in front and back leg. You root down, hug the inner thighs together. Become aware of the lower back. How does it feel? It should feel open and not congested. As you hug the inner thighs together, notice if you feel more activity in the hips, the side of the thighs, deep into the hip sockets, and a deeper opening into the lower back. That's the goal. What happens? What thoughts? What is the self-talk like as you try to find this? To move deeper into the pose. Let go of what doesn't suit you. Maybe you inhale and extend the fingertips towards the earth. That gazing point matters. With your inhale, maybe the arms float up. They soften wherever they land at the end of the inhale. And then with your next inhale, maybe you move a little deeper. Using the breath to guide you. To move, come into stillness, and move deeper. Did you lose awareness of the foundation? Is the pose sustainable for you like this? Letting go of the efforting. With your next exhale, the arms float down, and we step that left foot out, and we shake it out and let it go. And maybe take some hip circles there. Out and around and reverse those circles. And then come into stillness. And stepping to the top of your mat. Allowing the weight to shift into or over the right leg and stepping that left foot back for a warrior one, front facing pose. Rooting into the foundation so that you can lengthen up through the crown of the head. Once you have the work in the muscular body, lengthening through the skeletal body, you can come into the energy body and exhale, bend into that right knee. Keeping the integrity of the pose. Finding what's sustainable for you, becoming aware of the breath, and maybe inhaling the arms into cactus. And with your exhale, bringing the palms together. Inhaling, lengthening straight up through the crown of the head. Exhaling, gentle twists to the right, keeping the foundation alert, active, moving in and out of the pose with your breath. Letting the breath guide you to the twist and then back to center. Keeping the lower half of the body relatively still. Keeping the shoulders resting right where they are. The chin in alignment with the fingertips. The next time you come into the twist, maybe coming to stillness there. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, allow the heart to float a little more to the right. Maybe your chin, your gaze comes towards that right shoulder. Maybe not. Soften where you need to soften. Work where you need to work. So your next inhale, float it back to center. Exhale, float the hands down and step that back foot forward. Shake it out and land in your Tadasana, your mountain. Allowing the weight to shift over the left leg so you can step the right foot back. Inhaling there. Exhaling, active awareness. Exhaling into, bending into the knee. Actively aware of the soles of the feet, of the breath, lengthening and lifting you. Inhaling the arms up into cactus, keeping your gazing point, shoulder blades active without efforting. You find that balance and then allow the palms to touch at the heart center. Inhaling, front, back, side ribs lengthen out of the hips. Exhaling, floating the heart to the left. Inhaling, center, exhaling. Shoulders stay peaceful. Chin in alignment with the fingertips. Maybe 2 more rounds like this, moving in and out. And then resting in the stillness of the twist. Reconnecting with the foundation if you've lost it. Inhaling, finding a little more length. Exhaling, heart moves maybe a little bit further to the left. Shoulders stay peaceful. Maybe you gaze over that left shoulder, chin coming in the direction of that left shoulder, not lifting. Exhaling, rooting down, inhaling, back to center, floating those arms, releasing and stepping that right foot forward. At the top of the mat, you're coming into Tadasana. With your inhale, allow the arms to float out around and up. With your exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, deeply bend the knees. Float the fingertips to the floor. Step one knee back and then the other. Find your child pose. Moving with the breath. So without my cues, how do you use the inhales and the exhales to float into child pose? Can you use the breath to move a little deeper? And what does deeper mean to you? To bring more alert awareness to the pose and then rest in the stillness. What comes to you in the form of sensation? Do you attach to those sensations, creating stories? Or can you let those thoughts go and just be? Observing the breath as it restores you. Exhaling there And inhaling back up onto all fours or down onto forearms. Still the same alert awareness of the shoulders as they rest. With the foundation of palms of the hand or forearm. Exhaling left hip to left shoulder. Inhaling neutral. Exhaling right hip to right shoulder. Pivoting at the center of the body, allowing the hips to move side to side. They stay over the knees, but just contracting the muscles from armpit to hip. Allowing for a lengthening on the opposite side. What do you notice? And then finding stillness there, walking the hands back to the knees to allow the hips to come to the heels so they can let the hips float to one side and extend those legs out in front of you. Scoot up to the top of your mat if you're not there already. Let the soles of the feet come to the earth, bent knees, hips distance. Inhale, find length. Maybe the hands are in the back of the thighs. Exhale, float to the top of the sacrum. What do you notice? Can you find more length through the back body, more lift through the heart space, a more easeful breath, even as you engage those muscles that wrap around like a girdle to support you, layers and layers. From the base of the head, from the base of the skull to the tip of the tailbone. Exhaling, carving the belly out, if that works for you, to open up through the lower back, to lower slowly down to the earth. Coming to rest. Maybe the legs extend straight out in front of you. Sigh the breath out. Use that exhale to release. Inhale there and exhale, one knee and then the other. Floats in for a hug. Getting movement as your body needs. Circles side to side. But yet let the breath guide you so that you can allow for a gentle massage through the length of the muscles on either side of the spine or in the hips. Maybe even into the glutes. What do you notice? And then coming to stillness with the knees over the hips, as if you were sitting in a chair, and opening up the arms to extend out in T. And soften there, bringing awareness to the arms and the sockets, to the shoulders as they rest into the earth. Aware of the breath. Exhaling, one knee and then the other floats over to the side. Using a prop if you need to make this an accessible pose for you. Final spinal twist. What cues pop into your head? How do you relate to them? Allowing the body to rest. Physical body resting in response to gravity. The energy body restoring you as you watch the breath moving in and out. What would it mean for you to move a little deeper into the pose with the exhale? With your inhale, maybe gazing up to the ceiling. If you turn your head, exhale, one knee and then the other floats over the hips and then over to the opposite side. And this side's a little different, so you adjust to make the pose accessible and then release the physical body into the earth. And bring attention to the breath, awareness to the breath. And how can you use this awareness to move a little deeper into the moment, into this pose? Letting go of any expectation, attachments, or coercion. Just letting go. Surrendering to the pose. Notice how you're being in the pose. With your inhale, gazing to the ceiling. With your exhale, allow the knees to come up and take any final movement to complete your practice. Whatever that is for you. Maybe you need to take another pose. And if not, you can settle into Shavasana. Always the option of coming to sit instead of lying down. Sitting with support to make the pose accessible, if that's what you choose. Coming to rest with support, lying on your back. If you've settled into Shavasana, you're allowing the focus to come to the breath, aware of the inhales, aware of the exhales. Not rushing the practice, allowing it to happen naturally for you. Bringing awareness to the subtle echo of the breath as it moves in the body. Aware of the sounds that come to you. As you rest in the stillness, you're aware of the breath, of the body resting on the earth, and softening into that support. Aware of your natural rhythm, watching as the breath moves in from the tip of the nose, following it with the exhale out the tip of your nose. Alert awareness of the breath that restores you. Aware of the body accepting the breath. And then aware of the sounds that come to you. We can direct our awareness to the breath, to the body, to the sounds, to the thoughts. And we can choose where to rest. Where do you find the most peace? What brings you to alert awareness? And enables you to rest in the moment. If we're not present in the moment, then we've lost the wisdom and compassion. So we practice over and over again to arise in the present moment and rest in it. And the key is to approach that present moment without an agenda, without attachment, to just allow it to come and go. Not to perfect the moment, but to validate and be present with it without coercion or abandonment. Let the breath hold you, the energy body allowing the physical body to rest. Stop moving and start breathing. Aligning the flow of gravity, and then bringing the attention to your energy body. And as you bring attention to the energy in your body, it begins to brighten. And the physical body can soften. It's a good use of your will to learn how to be without creating suffering. Paying attention with alert awareness without suffering. Challenging times we have. How can we practice alert awareness without suffering? By letting go of attachment and expectation. Bringing direct awareness to the present moment and simply resting there. Unconditionally accepting the moment. Your reality as it is given to you. And it's a practice. Because it's our natural state to start thinking. We create stories. And then we miss that moment. We miss the sounds surrounding us. Bring awareness to the breath and resting an alert awareness. Gently returning to the breath, allowing the thoughts to become more peaceful, resting in the sounds surrounding you. Bring awareness to the physical body resting on the earth. Bring awareness to the space surrounding you. As you gently deepen your inhales and exhales, slowly bringing small, gentle movements back into the body. And with an inhale, maybe extending, reaching through the fingertips. And with an exhale, settling the arms to a comfortable place. Bending one knee and then the other, just step the feet softly onto the earth. Slowly becoming more aware, more alert. Noticing what your practice has given to you. Knowing that you can take this practice off the mat and into your life. Using your arm as a pillow, rolling over to one side or the other. Aware of the breath as it fills the front and back of the heart space. Using the palms of the hands to press the earth away, keeping the eyes softly closed if it suits you, and bringing yourself up into a peaceful, easy seat. And with your inhale, the arms extend one more time. With your exhale, the palms float together and they come to rest at the heart center. Meeting each moment the way the palms meet. And we lift our hearts and we bow our heads to honor that perfect light that shines in all of us, uniting us with the idea that our practice be continuous, that our hearts be steady. May our efforts be of benefit to all beings. May all beings be safe. May they be healthy. May they be happy. May they find their freedom, and may all beings walk through the world with ease. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice with me.